The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to today's webinar with your host, James McDonald.
Well, thank you very much, Andrea. I'd like to start by welcoming our coaching members to Coaching Session 2. And we've got a fantastic topic, as you should all know. What we're going to be talking about is selecting your target market and your unique selling proposition. And we're going to get in depth on all of the various kinds of USPs that you can be implementing right now. And there may be a lot of you that are thinking that a unique selling proposition automatically means a guarantee, maybe the guaranteed sale program. Well, a guarantee is simply one kind of USP. And we're going to show you that, well, number one, there are lots of different guarantees that you can use, but also there are other kinds of USPs that are every bit as effective that you can implement right now. And it doesn't matter if you're brand new to the business, doesn't matter whether you're a veteran of the business, whether you have money or you don't. These USPs can be applied into your business right now. And Craig and I are going to be going into depth and exploring all of those various unique selling propositions on today's call. Now, we're very excited to have you on our webinar here, and we really look forward to your participating in our Q&A session towards the later part of today's webinar. So having said that, again, for those of you that may have just joined us, we're talking about selecting your target market and who it is that we want to attract and how we set ourselves apart by creating a unique selling proposition. Those are our topics for today's webinar. It's going to be a good one. We'll look forward to your participating in the Q&A, and at this time, I'd like to turn the call over to Craig. So Craig, let's get started.
Well, thanks a lot, James. Well said. Today, let's begin with the topic of selecting your target market. You know, if you ask most real estate agents who they're specifically targeting with their marketing, they kind of give you a blank look. They usually say that they're pretty much after anybody and everybody. Well, I want to talk to you about why that's not a good strategy. And it's very important that you do have marketing strategy, that our marketing decisions are based on logic and science versus subjective decisions, which are often the result in financial ruin. And I want you to think about other businesses outside of real estate. Let's take a look at McDonald's, for example. If McDonald's was considering opening a restaurant in your city, they would do some careful research before they made that decision to make sure that the community, that the location could support the restaurant. Well, you know, you and I also have access to similar information called MLS. We are in one of the most documented industries in the world, and we need to start taking advantage of all of this great information that's at our fingertips on MLS. I want to talk to you about how to do that on today's webinar. We also want to look at our own personal situation when it comes to deciding who we're going to target with our marketing. Okay, it's very important for us to understand that we can't be everything to everybody. Okay, you don't have the resources that Coca-Cola has. We can't afford to be everything to everybody, so we have to shrink our marketplace. And you may remember that we did talk about this at this super conference, this idea of shrinking your marketplace. So you need to have an honest look at your present situation and at your resources. For example, let's say that you're fairly new in the real estate business, you don't have a lot of experience, and you don't have a lot of money. Well, obviously then, you shouldn't be targeting luxury home sellers. You know, you don't have the credibility and you don't have the money to market their properties. And it would take you perhaps months and months and months to get paid on those transactions. And for most of you, you can't wait that long. If you need to make some now money, that strategy wouldn't make sense at all. Instead, what you should be doing is targeting first-time buyers and sellers. And it shouldn't be a situation where you're just throwing a dart at the wall and saying, okay, who is it that I'm going to target? And although, you know, it would be great if you absolutely loved your target market and eventually you do want to gravitate to people that you really enjoy working with, but right now you might have to do what you need to do, not necessarily what you love to do to make this business work for you. Does that make sense to everybody? Now, most real estate agents let their target market select them. Okay, they don't choose their target market. They let their target market select them. And you know what? I was no different. Let me explain. You see, when I started in real estate 20 years ago, you want to know how I selected my target market? I got my first listing in the London Road area, so that then became my farm area. Now think about it. I could have gotten my first listing anywhere, but because I got my first listing in that particular neighborhood, that became my farm area. And that's the area that I worked for years and years and years. Now, you may say, well, gee, Craig, things worked out pretty well for you, so what's wrong with that approach? Well, face it, I got lucky. But you shouldn't build a business based on luck. A lot of real estate agents do that. They sort of, they get their first listing by mistake, and then that becomes their target market. Okay, that is not a scientific approach. You should be using logic and science when it comes to selecting who you're going to be talking to with your marketing and who you're not going to be talking to. So I'd like to begin by having you write down a couple of notes here. So if you'll grab a pen, I'm going to give you some things to consider when you start to think about who it is that you should be targeting with your marketing, keeping in mind that you can't be everything to everybody. Okay, so please grab your pen. Here's the list that I'd like you to write down. Number one, who should I want to target? Okay, number two, what do they want? Number three, how are you going to give them what they want? How are you going to give that to them? Okay, so who do I want to work with based on your own personal situation and the research that you've done? That's number one. Number two, what do these people want? And number three, how are we going to give them what they want? If you ask most real estate agents who they're trying to target with their marketing efforts, they really don't have a good answer to that. Okay, they'll say to me, well, I'm looking for anybody or everybody in hopes of attracting somebody that wants to buy or sell a house. Okay, and that's not strategy. That's a real problem. When you're trying to be everything to everyone, you're really failing to address the specific needs of anybody. So you see a lot of real estate agents that run ads talking about themselves, or they have generic slogans like, please list with me, I care about your business. And you might fool yourself into thinking that those kinds of statements actually work. But they really don't do a very good job of attracting prospects. Okay, you must understand that if you need to make money right now, you need to be doing very specific things. And the best target, if you need to make cash right away, is to target first-time buyers. Okay, and we have ads to help you attract any type of buyer or seller that you want to work with. But if you need to make money right away, please begin by targeting first-time buyers. Also, you don't need to break the bank running expensive ads to target first-time buyers. You can start by running ads on mediums that either cost you nothing or other very inexpensive mediums. So please write this down. The mediums that I'd like you to begin with to start making money right away, if you don't have a lot of money, start with Google pay-per-click, find inexpensive local newspapers, and run classified and display ads. Okay, these are the mediums. Those are the methods of delivering your marketing message that I'd like you to begin with. Now, I did talk about this at the Super Conference, but let me repeat it. Why first-time buyers? Why are they a great target for those of you that need to make money right away? Because, first of all, first-time buyers are very easy to attract. And obviously, they've got nothing to sell. Also consider that interest rates are historically low. So buying a home in today's market is super affordable. And what I've found is that first-time buyers are also very easy to please. You take them out, you show them 3 or 4 homes, and guess what? Every house you show them is better than that dingy apartment that they're currently renting. And because they don't have a house to sell, you can close these transactions in 30 days and get paid. Because most of these people are on month to month. So you can get paid within a couple of weeks versus working with move-up buyers who already live in a pretty nice home. Think about a move-up buyer that already lives in a pretty nice home. They're going to be very picky because they already live in a pretty nice house. You might have to show them dozens and dozens of homes before they find a home that they want to make an offer on. What that means is it may take months and months and months for you to get paid. And how about this? Even when you find them the perfect home, they still have a house to sell, so your offer must be conditional on the sale of their existing home, which may or may not sell. The difference is between you getting paid in a couple weeks and getting paid months and months down the road, or maybe never. Now, some of you on the webinar here today may feel that, well, this doesn't apply to me, Craig, because I'm already making good money. I'm already doing well. Hey, look, don't ignore this strategy. Even if you're already doing well, this is still a great strategy. I mean, who on our webinar here today doesn't want to make money right away? So you're going to all want to target first-time buyers. Whether you need money like yesterday or whether you're already doing well, first-time buyers represent a great target market, and there's not a lot of competition for first-time buyers. We have some great ads, some great campaigns that'll help you do that. And we're going to talk about the messages that you should be using to attract first-time buyers. But again, the medium that you're going to use, the way you're going to deliver that marketing message to begin with should be through Craigslist because it's free, or in inexpensive newspapers, preferably local newspapers that have free home delivery. So start with the least expensive methods of delivering your marketing message. Now, as far as the messages go, if you want to attract first-time buyers, I would recommend that you run ads like the Fixer-Upper campaign and the Distress Sale campaign and the Must Sell campaign, the ones you see on your screen right now. We've got wonderful campaigns in the marketing library to target first-time buyers. Now, if you're interested in move-up buyers, of course, we have ads as well to attract those move-up buyers, like the Upscale Homes campaign. Some of you might perceive that these campaigns aren't going to work as well for upscale home buyers, and it's not true. We have coaching members from all over the country working in completely different marketplaces, small cities, large cities, rural, it doesn't matter. We have campaigns to help you target any type of buyer or seller that you most want to attract. Okay, we have campaigns for every segment of the marketplace. But I'm specifically talking right now to those of you that need to make money right away. You should now understand what messages you should be running and how to deliver those messages to your selected target market. Next, let's have a conversation with those of you that are already doing well. Okay, for those of you that are already doing well, you don't have this dire need to make cash yesterday. Okay, you're already doing okay. I'd still like you to target first-time buyers because they do represent a great target market, even for those of you that are making good money. But I'd also like you to target move-up buyers. Here are some of the ads that you could run, okay, to attract move-up buyers. You could run the editorial style ads. For example, the 6 trade-up mistakes to avoid when moving to a larger home. Okay, obviously the only prospects that would respond to that campaign are those that already have a house. They're trading up. Or the Save Thousands campaign or the Buyer Traps campaign. All you have to do is go to the marketing library, and you're going to see a wide assortment of campaigns that target both first-time buyers and move-up buyers. And of course, if you're after sellers, let's have a look at the campaigns that we'll recommend to target sellers. The online home evaluation classified ad is an absolute jackpot. Also, the home down the street or area home sales classified ad. That's the ad that says find out what the home down the street sold for. That's another jackpot. Also, test the editorial ads like the costly home seller mistakes or the home inspection mistakes to avoid ad or set price or for sale by owner. 27 tips. I'd recommend that you go to the marketing library and you think about, well, which campaigns are going to do a really good job of targeting the type of buyer and seller that I should be targeting. Okay, again, my recommendation is you have a good look at your personal finances, your present situation, and you do the research on MLS and you look for opportunities. And by personal situation, I'm talking about both your finances and I'm talking about your experience and your credibility that you're going to have with each of these target markets. Okay, for example, if you're a brand new real estate agent, you're targeting first-time buyers, okay, you may not have a lot of experience, but guess what? Neither does the client. Okay, first-time buyers really don't know what to expect. They've never done this before. However, if you lack experience, it's probably not a great idea to target veteran home buyer and sellers. These are people that have already bought and sold real estate many, many times before. Okay, so that's another good reason for those of you that are rookies in this business to target first-time buyers. All right, the other thing I want to talk about is doing research on MLS. All right, I did a consultation recently with one of our coaching members who wanted to target high-end condominiums. Okay, he wants to work with sellers of high-end condominiums. And the reason he wanted to do this is because he likes condos. He lives in one himself. So this was his geographical farm area, the farm area that he lived in. Like I discussed a few minutes ago, this is a big mistake that a lot of us make. But here's what happened. Once we did the MLS research, what he determined is there wasn't enough turnover. There weren't enough condos selling, even if he got 100% of the market share, which is unlikely, for him to make a good living. All right, so let's not forget to do this research on MLS. Remember, any of us can do this. So before you subjectively decide who you're going to target and who you're not going to target, simply research the MLS. The MLS will tell you where the opportunity is in your marketplace. So for example, if I want to target first-time home buyers in my town, in Newmarket, I could search MLS and I would look for homes that sold last month. I'd search for the homes that sold last month and I'd identify how many of these homes that sold were first-time buyer homes. So first-time buyer homes in my marketplace might be any home that sold for, let's say, $450,000 or less. How many homes that sold were $450,000 and less? Now, if that's a big chunk of the marketplace, what that tells me is, hey, first-time buyers would be a great target market. Now, obviously with MLS, we can't research buyers, but we can research sales. Okay, we can research the homes that have sold. Obviously, if there's a bunch of homes that have sold for $450,000 and less, what we can then conclude, obviously, is there had to be buyers for those homes. So do we want to target the sellers of those homes, or do we want to target the buyers that are buying those homes? what you do is you go to the marketing library, you pick the ad, and then you test different mediums, different methods of delivering that message to the target market. If you pay attention to the results, you're going to understand within a couple of weeks which of the ads work the best, which of the mediums work the best. And once you determine what works the best, guess what? Then you can continue to do more of that and eliminate anything that's not working well. What you're going to find is within a couple weeks, you're going to have your marketing on autopilot. You know, that's why we call this automatic marketing. It truly is automatic marketing. You're going to test the different ads, the different campaigns. You're going to determine which ads and which methods of delivering those ads to your intended market work the best, and it's basically rinse and repeat. So I want you to give this some careful consideration. Much like I said earlier, when it comes to opening a McDonald's restaurant, they don't just throw a dart at the map and say, hey, we're going to open a restaurant here. McDonald's does a ton of research on population and trends and traffic before they decide they're going to invest in opening a brand new restaurant. Well, you and I have similar type information right on your MLS. You just need to be smart enough to use it. So there's two things I want you to do. Number one, I want you to take an honest look at your needs, your own financial situation, okay, your own personal situation. And number two, I want you to research MLS. And when you do that, you're going to understand who you should be targeting. Okay, now once you understand who you should be targeting, you're going to go to the marketing library within the coaching site, and you're going to select some ads that you're going to test. I want you to pick messages that would appeal to that piece of the market that you want to target. Now, the only other question is, what is going to be the best way to deliver that marketing message or to deliver that ad to your intended piece of the market? So what are you going to do? You're going to test different mediums. I want you to test Craigslist. I want you to test running the ads in the classified section in some of your local papers. I want you to run the ads not in the classified section, but randomly peppered throughout the local paper. We call these display ads. Okay, so you can run the ads in the classified section, under homes for sale, and then outside of the classified section. Those are your least expensive methods to get started with this system, to deliver the message to your intended piece of the market. All right, next let's talk about determining what it is that your prospects want. What motivates this target group of prospects that you're after? Okay, what factors are most important to them? If they're sellers, do they want a quick sale? Do they want top dollar? Are they after the best value, the most attentive service? Do they want the least hassle? How would you find out what your prospects really want? Well, it's actually pretty simple. You ask them. Failing to understand and address what your prospects really want is one of the biggest marketing mistakes that realtors make. Rather than assuming or guessing the answer, you should be asking your prospects directly by researching their needs. And that's why I survey every buyer and seller I work with. And we're going to talk to you later in the coaching program about how to survey them. Okay, stop guessing. Survey them. Use science, use logic, and really determine what's important to them so you can do a great job of addressing their needs. Okay, next let's talk about being specific. We need to be really specific when it comes to target market. For example, targeting buyers breaks into subsets. Okay, targeting buyers breaks into subsets. There's first-time buyers, there's move-up buyers, there's luxury home buyers, there's people that only want to buy rural properties, there's people that only want to buy condominiums. So I want you to look specifically at who you're going to target. And once you've made that decision, then you must determine what it is that your target market really wants. Does that make sense? Let's determine who we ought to be working with, who we should be targeting, and then determine what it is that our target market really wants. And then we're going to give them what they want in a unique way that clearly sets you and I apart. We're going to offer prospects what they want in a unique way so they see us as different and better than our competitors. Now let's take a step back and have a look at your situation. If somebody asks you, hey, what makes you different from all the other real estate agents in town? In other words, why should I choose to buy or sell a home with you versus all the other real estate agents in town? What would you say to them? And it can't be things like, I'm honest, or I work hard, or I really want your business, because of course everyone is saying those things. You need to have a really compelling answer to this very important question. And you need to be able to articulate your answer in 60 seconds or less. What is it that makes you different and better than your competition? If I was selling my house, why would I want to do business with you versus everybody else? Most realtors run around spouting off the same old things. We're going to work hard for you. We're going to do a good job for you. I'm honest. But again, none of this sets you apart because everyone's saying the same old things. Also, I found a lot of real estate agents have a unique selling proposition that they communicate quite effectively during their one-on-one situations, like at a listing presentation. At a listing presentation, many realtors know exactly what to say to set themselves apart from the other real estate agents. However, they don't communicate their USP effectively to the masses in their marketing efforts. Let's say that I met with a seller today, and I know exactly what to say to that seller to set myself apart. And over again, when I meet with sellers to compel them to want to do business with me, I know exactly what to say. Okay, the words that come out of my mouth work. Well, think about this. If you could bottle that message and you could market that through to the masses through advertising, you'd have a great, unique selling proposition. Okay, so how many of you can relate to that? What you say when you're face-to-face with prospects works. Well, why don't you just bottle that? Whatever works in your one-on-one communications should be promoted and advertised to the masses through your advertising. So that would be a pretty good idea, right? To let the rest of the world know about what you do that makes you different and better. Okay, so what is it that you're doing to set yourself apart from all the other realtors? That's the big question, and that's what I want to talk about. It's your USP, your unique selling proposition that tells the world who you are and what you do. Your unique selling proposition clearly and concisely tells prospects what benefit or benefits they're going to derive from doing business with you instead of one of your competitors. Now, most realtors have not given this much thought. So here's some important questions that you might want to ask yourself. What distinguishes your business from your competitors? Do your listings sell faster than average? Do they sell for more money than your competitors? Do your buyers save money when they deal with you, or do they save time? Do you have a better system to attract customers? Are you more aggressive in your marketing programs and strategies? Do you provide better service? Do you give better guarantees? Do you make it easier for people to do business with you? What is it exactly that makes you different? As you progress through the coaching program, and this might already be the case, you probably look around at what your competitors are doing to promote themselves, and you realize, or you say to yourself, they just don't get it. Because it's true, the average realtor doesn't get it. They don't have a clue about how to differentiate themselves. Everybody's saying the same old bland things, or they're saying nothing at all. Most real estate agents are wasting their money on ineffective ads that produce little or no results. So if we want to be successful, we can't do what everyone else is doing. We need to understand that this self-image advertising that every agent and every company seems to be wasting money on is not something that you can be doing if you want to be successful. And in fact, if you're still engaged in any type of image advertising, if you're still running those kinds of ads, I'm going to urge you right now to stop. Stop wasting your money on ineffective self-image advertising. Instead, let's talk about how to create a compelling, unique selling proposition. And as I get into this topic, I want to just explain to you that I'm not going to suggest that anyone run out after our webinar is over spending a whole bunch of money promoting their USP. Okay, that's not what I'm suggesting. I'm not suggesting that you should run out there and start spending a lot of money promoting your USP. Not yet. Some of you, perhaps are in a financial position where you can do this, but everyone on the call can start to promote your unique selling proposition with the words that come out of your mouth. You see, the words that come out of your mouth don't cost you anything. The misconception is that when I'm talking about setting yourself apart by promoting your USP, automatically everybody assumes I'm talking about running ads. That's what people assume. Craig is saying, well, I need to start spending a lot of money running full-page ads and renting billboards and running television commercials. And although some of you are going to gravitate to that, that's not where you should start. So please understand that generating leads by promoting your unique selling proposition is definitely more expensive, or can be more expensive, than running other types of lead generators. And I've discussed the fact that your less branded advertising is always going to generate you more leads at a much lower cost than branded advertising. Okay, less branded advertising is the most effective and least expensive way to generate leads, bar none. Because prospects want information, but not necessarily do they want to go to a real estate agent to get that information, you'll always find that your less branded advertising generates you more leads at a lower cost than branded advertising. So as soon as you start to promote yourself and your unique selling proposition, understand you're going to generate less leads. You might say, well, why would I want to do that? Well, here's the argument. The argument for advertising your USP is, even though you're going to generate less leads, the leads that you generate are going to be predisposed to working with you because they already know that this information is coming from you, but they also already know what makes you different and better than your competition. Is everybody understanding this? So when you promote your USP, words do matter. I want you to consider the words that come out of your mouth when you're on the telephone with a prospect or when you're at a listing presentation. These words must create the perception amongst your prospects that you are different and better than the competition. And you're going to test different statements, different benefits. You're going to test different things that come out of your mouth, and what you're going to determine is some of them work better than others. So as you start to promote your USP, you're going to be changing the way that prospects in your marketplace think about you. And you'll compel the best prospects to contact you. Most of you on the webinar are not at the point of being able to do what I did when it comes to this kind of ongoing investment. However, for those of you right now that are wasting money on image style advertising, immediately stop. Stop running those types of ads and switch to promoting your USP. All right, to reiterate, the difference between promoting your USP and image advertising is this. You know, image advertising basically says, call me, I'm great. You know, list your home with me. Or I've got all these designations. But there's no benefit with that. And here's the difference. You see, with USP advertising, not only are you creating an awareness of who you are, attached to your identity, is a very specific and tangible benefit. So people don't only know who you are, but they also clearly understand what makes you different and better than your competition. Okay, now for those of you that are struggling for cash right now, how do you do this? Start by promoting your USP verbally. If you don't have the money to spend on newspaper advertising or online advertising, you can begin by promoting your USP with the words that come out of your mouth. When you're talking to prospects on the phone or during your face-to-face communications at a listing appointment or a buyer appointment, begin to test your different USPs. And what you're going to find is some of the words that come out of your mouth work far better than others. Those are the words you're going to continue to use until you find better words. Let's make the assumption that whatever you discover works the best during your one-on-one communications, does it make sense that is likely going to work the best when you start to multiply that message to the masses with your marketing? So if you meet with a seller and you find that a certain message, a certain unique selling proposition works better than all others, there's a very good chance that if you promoted that USP in the newspaper or online, that you'd have a very effective offer. Okay, remember, the most important question that anyone is ever going to ask you, as long as you're a real estate agent, is why should I do business with you versus all other options, including doing nothing or whatever I'm doing now? This is what every prospect you meet with or speak to on the phone is consciously or subconsciously asking themselves. Why should I do business with you above all other options, including doing nothing or whatever I'm doing now? So your unique selling proposition is going to be the essence of your entire business concept. It's the unique advantage that distinguishes your real estate business from all your competitors. Okay, so creating your USP. You might want to write these down. Number one, you need to determine what your customers want. Okay, you have to determine what they want. How can you give it to them if you don't know what they want? Number two, find out which of these needs you can fulfill. And number three, find a way to clearly state to your customers that you're the source to fulfill those needs. Now, I want to share with you 3 different types of USP platforms. Okay, so let me explain to you the difference of these 3 different types of USPs. Now, you may want to use one of these USP platforms. You're probably going to want to use all 3 of them. Let's begin by discussing unique service USPs. Okay, unique service USPs. In my marketplace, I offered unique services or programs. Okay, unique services or programs that other agents didn't offer. This made me stand out. It made me different in the mind of the buyers and sellers, because I'm offering something that my competitors were not offering. When you work with a buyer or seller, here's my advice. Don't do the same old things that everyone else is doing. You want to come up with unique programs, unique services that they don't offer. So let me give you some examples. When I would meet with this seller, I would talk about my Sunday tour of homes. This is a unique program that I offer that other agents don't. And I'll explain to you the benefits of the Sunday tour of home in more detail, but I would compare my Sunday tour of homes versus what everyone else was offering, a traditional open house. I talked a little bit about this at the Super Conference. The Sunday tour of homes was an amazing listing tool. I also explained to sellers that I was going to promote their home 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, using my special websites and my special recorded hotlines. And then I would go on to explain the benefits of doing this, that 3 times as many prospects, as many buyers will request information on their home when they know they don't have to speak to a real estate agent. And their home will be promoted 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's not how other realtors do it, right? Other agents tell buyers, contact me. I don't do it that way. Why don't I do it that way? Well, I explain this to the seller. I'll get 3 times as many inquiries. Your home will be promoted 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the only prospects that we're going to bring through your home are people that already have the information. They've been somewhat qualified or pre-qualified because at least they have some information on your property. What does every other realtor do? They try to drag anybody and everybody through your property. Okay, so I'm using robots to automatically sift and sort the prospects and really do a good job of pre-qualifying the prospects so I know the best buyers to bring through the seller's home. Now for buyers, I have unique services for them as well. I would tell buyers about a unique buyer profile service. It's a unique service that I offer buyers that my competitors do not, where I offer to send buyers advance notification on any hot new listing that match the home buying criteria, including bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, and distress sales. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Craig, every real estate agent would be willing to email listings to buyers. Yes, that's true, but my program is different. And it's up to all of you to be able to differentiate what you do versus what everyone else does. Have you ever thought about this? Do you realize that what we sell, the houses, will never set you and I apart? It's true, isn't it? In real estate, we all sell the same thing, homes on MLS. Okay, we all sell houses, and they're all in the multiple listing service. And that's a problem, right? To a lot of realtors, they look at that, they go, oh, that's a problem, because they figure, okay, well, I guess we're all the same. What you and I sell is the same. Face it, it's the same. So please understand that what you and I sell will never set us apart. Okay, what you sell will never set you apart. It's how you sell it. It's how you do what you do that will set you apart, not what you sell. So please write this down.
Craig, another interesting point, just to jump in here, talking about the daily emails and the priority access as well as proprietary information that you're offering to buyers, is that these USPs actually overlap and are applicable to both buyers and to sellers in a lot of cases. One of the things that we're going to suggest you do to attract sellers is that you build up an inventory of buyers who are getting your daily emails because they actually become a USP for your sellers.
Absolutely. That's a good point. And let me explain. We call that the buyers in waiting program. So James, if you were the seller and I'm at your home and let's say you were interviewing 2 other realtors, I would show James a printout of the over 300 buyers that I'm currently sending information to on a daily basis. And I would say, James, if you decide to list your home with me, I already have buyers in waiting. They're getting priority email notification of all the new listings that match their criteria. And I would show James the list. I would hand it to him, and I'd watch him looking through this list. And you can imagine this seller leafing through pages and pages of buyers. And, you know, we really do have these buyers that really are looking for specific properties. And the list has the buyers' names, which one of my buyer agents they're working with, how many homes they received last week, 2 weeks ago, and in total. So these buyers that we're working with actually, can you see how they actually become a tool for us to attract sellers? And it works the other way around too. So because I have unique programs in place to generate more buyers, then the fact that I have more buyers also benefits the sellers. So James, you made a very good point. And I would say this to the seller. I would say, James, if you decide to list your home with me tonight, the very first thing that I would do is I would email information on your home out to all the buyers in my database that are looking for a home like yours. And James, you know, it sounds kind of crazy, but it's almost like I've been looking for a buyer for your home before we even met tonight. Now, we may get a match right away. In fact, we may find multiple buyers for your home. Does that work well? You bet it does. Why? Because we know sellers want to list their home with the agent whom they perceive has all the buyers. You know, if I was selling my home, I realize I can just list my home with anybody, but I'd rather not list my home. I don't want to just list my home. I'd prefer to list my home with the realtor who I perceive already has the buyers. Well, that's your job, is to create that perception. So virtually everything you're doing in your marketing to generate buyers or sellers is a unique selling proposition. It's a service that you're providing to your buyers and your sellers. And every bit of this you can use in your presentation. And that's exactly what we're going to show you how to do.
You know, Craig, in marketing, there's an old saying, looking at it here, the more you tell, the more you sell. So if I'm trying to list your home, I'm going to bring a printout of my leads from my Success website control panel. I'm going to bring a printout from the AMS hotline. I'm going to demonstrate my marketing savvy. Here are the buyers that I've generated in the last month. Did any of the other agents you interviewed show you how many buyers they're currently working with? And of course, the answer is no. What they try to do is get them to like them, or they talk about their house, but in no way do they talk about the strategy that they're going to use, because it's very likely that, well, they don't have one.
Yep, good point. Hey, let's move on to the second USP platform. Okay, performance guarantee USPs.
Hey, Craig, before we do, you know, there's a great analogy that you use all the time, and I don't know whether you were going to, but it goes like this, essentially, in regards to your presentation, and you talked about an arsenal or weaponry, and it's kind of like, you know, you start by pulling out a handgun in your presentation, and then you pull out the bazooka, and before you know it, you're rolling the tanks in, and that's really what you can do, isn't it, with when you're armed with these USPs?
Yeah, I guess, James, what you're referring to is in my briefcase, I have many places that I could go during a listing presentation.
Exactly.
Okay, I don't have to use all of the tools, but I'm going to use them in progression. So I may be able to start out with just using a few of the tools, but I know with confidence that I can progress as needed to some of, I guess we could call it my heavy-duty artillery.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, if my unique programs weren't enough to convince James to list his home, I could move up the ladder to USP platform number 2, okay, which are my performance guarantees. You know, I could say to James, well, James, another thing that I do to set myself apart from all the other agents is the fact that I'm accountable to you. I know you've interviewed a couple of other agents, you know, and I'm sure they were great, and I'm sure they told you how much they really wanted your business, and I'm sure they told you they were going to work really, really hard. But I do all those things too. But James, I will also guarantee that if I haven't sold your home in X amount of days, and you can decide what that is, what the X is, whether it's 90 days or whatever, but if I haven't sold your home in 90 days or less, I'll sell it for free. That's how confident I am that I can sell your home at this price. Or I might say this, James, if I haven't sold your home in 90 days, I'll actually pay you $1,000 cash on closing.
Or how about, Craig, if you decide to purchase a home or allow me to represent you in that purchase, and if at any time during the next 12 months you decide you don't like that property for any reason, I'll sell it for free. How's that for a buyer's side guarantee?
Yeah, we have lots of great ones for buyers as well. How about this? James, I know you've interviewed a couple of agents to represent you on the buy end, on the buy side. But James, if you commit to working with me, I guarantee to save you at least $10,000 off the list price of any home that you purchase using my services, or I'll pay you $1,000 cash on closing. Okay, these are examples of performance guarantees. And of course, the biggie that we've talked about at the Super Conference that's made me more money than any of the others is the Guaranteed Sale Program. Now, that's also the program that freaks most of you out because you immediately assume that you're going to get stuck buying a bunch of homes.
Well, it's a straight up program.
It really is. You know, the most immediate thing that you assume is that if you offer the Guaranteed Sale Program, you're going to get stuck buying a bunch of homes. And if you understand the rules, you'll understand that this is absolutely not going to happen as long as you follow the rules that you've set for yourself. Okay, if you understand the program, you have very little risk of this happening. And I'm going to conduct entire webinars on the Guaranteed Sale Program because I want you to understand the program before you immediately eliminate it. I want to help you design your rules and your guidelines. Remember, this is your program, and you can design the rules and conditions. This is a program that can make you a lot of money, especially in today's market. The prospects that are most likely going to respond to the Guaranteed Sale Program are the most motivated sellers. Would you agree with that? The most motivated sellers in the marketplace are going to respond to an ad that says, we'll sell your home, guaranteed, or we'll buy it. The most motivated sellers are the sellers that you want to attract. The people that absolutely must sell now. Now, of course, we're not buying their home or guaranteeing their home at market value. You all understand that, right? There's a buffer. I mean, just like when you buy car insurance. James, you recently bought a car. Now, if you wreck that car, okay, if you smash the car up, the insurance company is probably not going to say, okay, James, we're going to give you 100% of what you paid for the car. They're not going to do that. They're going to build in some kind of discount. And the reason that we all buy car insurance is just in case something happens. Well, consider the Guaranteed Sale Program as a special insurance program that you're offering to your sellers that nobody else is. Now, we can't offer the seller 100% of market value, but clearly what we're offering the seller is far better than what your competitors are offering them, which is nothing. So we can afford to be conservative. You can tell the home seller that owns, let's say the seller owns a home worth $400,000. If you guarantee $360,000, so 10% off of market value, and then you take off your commission because you're not going to pay yourself, so your net offer to the seller would be $339,000. Wouldn't everyone agree that that would be a pretty easy number to beat? If the house is truly worth $400,000, and remember, it's you and I that set the price. That's another condition of the Guaranteed Sale Program is you set the price. You are now going to deduct your guaranteed sale fee, whether that's 5% or 10%, you decide. Then you're not going to pay yourself a commission, so you deduct the commission. Now keep in mind there's also other rules to the Guaranteed Sale Program. Okay, it gets better than this because firstly, they have to move up and buy one of your listings. So let's take somebody that owns a $200,000 home and they move up and they buy one of your $400,000 listings. Now these numbers might not be relevant to you, but it's just easy math. So take somebody who owns a $200,000 home and they're moving up and they're going to buy your $400,000 listing. That means you're going to make about $25,000 in commissions right there on the move up. That $25,000 you're going to get on closing. That could be your down payment. If needed, that could represent your down payment. Now, that would only happen if the $200,000 home didn't sell in 120 days for at least 170. Because that would be my guarantee. On a $200,000 home, I'm going to guarantee $170,000. Now look, I don't expect many of you to run out and start offering the Guaranteed Sale Program immediately, but eventually you're probably going to be attracted to this program because you're going to be hearing from so many of your fellow coaching members that are using it successfully, especially those members that have come through the coaching program before you, people that have been involved in the program for a number of years. Here's the thing. Once you totally understand how it works, that's going to give you the understanding part of the equation. But you also need to gain the confidence to move forward. And you're going to gain that confidence by the information we share with you and by speaking to dozens of our members who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars offering the Guaranteed Sale Program. That's going to give you what I call supreme confidence. And here's what I believe. Really, two things are necessary for you to implement the Guaranteed Sale Program. Number one, you need to know what you're doing. You need to have a good understanding of how it works. And number two, you need to have what I call supreme confidence. You need to have the confidence to act. So performance guarantees are the second platform or the second type of USP that you and I should be offering in our business. Okay, now this brings us to the third and final type of USP. These are called statistical USPs. This is something that all of you can do right now. It doesn't matter whether you're brand new in real estate. I mean, let's take somebody who's brand new in real estate. You sold maybe one home this year. You sold one listing. Maybe that one listing sold for 2% more than the real estate board average. Maybe that one listing you sold for half the market time. Well, those would be good things to talk about in your advertising or at least in your one-on-one communications with buyers and sellers. So an easy way to set yourself apart is to take your numbers, your statistics, and compare it against MLS. Let's face it, the MLS averages are pretty pathetic. The results that the average realtor gets are pathetic. Now, when you do this research, you're not likely going to shine in all the different areas, but you're only going to talk about the stats that make you look good. So, for example, if your list-to-sales ratio was inferior to MLS, obviously you're not going to talk about that. You might want to talk about your days on the market. Or what about your success ratio? Does everyone know what that means? Your success ratio is the percentage, what percentage of the listings that you take on sell and close. So when I met with a seller, I was able to say, you know, Mr. Seller, do you know that I sold 87% of the homes that I've listed this year? That's something that I would talk about when I met with a seller, because that's an impressive statistic when you compare it to the fact that on MLS, less than 50% of the homes that are listed sell and close. Now, we can do the same thing with buyers. How would we use statistics when we're trying to attract buyers? Let's say that when you do the research, you determine that when you represent a buyer, your buyers only pay 95% of the asking price. Okay, compared to MLS, when you do the research, you realize everyone else's buyers on average are paying 97% of the asking price. Can you see how you could demonstrate to a buyer that on average, you're able to save your buyers 2% versus what other agents are negotiating for their buyers? Okay, now, the last thing I want to do before we take your questions is I want to talk about the importance of backing up all of your claims, backing up everything that you promote with some testimonials. When I'm promoting my guaranteed sale program, when I run an ad that says, your home sold in X amount of time or I'll buy it, can anyone on our webinar here guess what the biggest problem I have to overcome? It's skepticism. The number one trend in the country today is skepticism. So that's the biggest problem I have when I'm promoting the guaranteed sale program. It's skepticism. You know, people think, well, that sounds too good to be true, or, you know, what's the catch? So you and I know that in advance, that we're dealing with a very skeptical consumer. So we have to be prepared for it. We need to use testimonials to back up every claim that we make. When you start to promote your unique programs, your performance guarantees, or your statistical advantages, make sure that you back up every claim that you make with testimonials wherever possible. Now, for those of you that are fairly new in the business, you don't have many clients, I understand that you may not have testimonials. But eventually, as you know, you're involved in this system now, when you do transactions with buyers and sellers, you want to make sure that you get a testimonial wherever possible. Most real estate agents do not do this. Okay, so rule number one is get testimonials. Have a system in place to automatically get testimonials every time you work with a buyer or seller. Now, one more thing I want to mention. Make sure they're good testimonials, not what I call useless or wimpy testimonials. Let me give you an example. What does a wimpy testimonial look like? How about this? Craig was really nice to us. Or, you know, we'd really like to thank Craig for selling our home. It was a great experience. Those are wimpy, useless testimonials.
You know, Craig, really what you're talking about is that the testimonial has to encompass one or more of the three platforms that you've been talking about, one of the three platforms of USPs, either a statistical advantage, a unique service, or program that you offered them was successful, or a performance guarantee. Let me give you an example. How about this one? Because of Craig's guaranteed sale program, we were able to buy the home of our dreams. Or Craig sold our home for 98.8% of our asking price in just 9 days. Really what it is you're offering a USP, but instead of it coming out of your mouth, it's coming out of the mouth of a third party. Obviously means a whole lot more. A good testimonial is a third party promoting your USP.
Exactly. So if I'm promoting my list to sales ratio or my days on the market, I would want to use testimonials from people that say, Craig sold, something like Craig sold my home in 98% of the asking price and he sold it in a week. Or I was listed with 3 other agents for over a year and I switched to Craig Proctor and he sold it for 100% of the asking price in 48 hours. Those are the kind of testimonials you want to use. Testimonials that support the claims that you're making. Now, most real estate agents, they don't even make claims. So make a strong claim and then back your claim up. Support the claim with testimonials that have taken advantage of your USPs. They've taken advantage of these programs that you offer. Now you've got a killer marketing campaign, and people are much more likely to believe what other people have to say about you versus what you say about yourself. It's just the way it is. So if you believe that skepticism is a big problem in our society today, if you understand and accept the fact that the number one thing that you're up against is skepticism, and that the public's perception is that all real estate agents are exactly the same, if you understand that, if you now know exactly what to do to solve that problem. And you understand now how to set yourself apart from the crowd. So let's do this. Let's take some of your questions and let's try to keep the questions pertaining to what we've discussed on our webinar here today on how you should be selecting your target market and your unique selling proposition. Andrea, over to you.
Yes, sir. You can ask your questions in 2 ways. One by audio if you're on the phone or if you have a computer mic, or you can type your question in the chat box, which we already have several parties who have done so.
All right, well, why don't we start with some of the chat questions. And yeah, we would love to have some audio questions as well. So you folks should know by now how to raise your hand and we can speak directly with you. But let's start with James Anderson is asking, he's in Portland, Oregon. He says that I think he's referring to the reality program. It's not offered through his MLS. I don't know why that would be, James, because I've never heard of that. But anyway, is there another service that I could recommend? Well, that's odd that they can't help you with your MLS. I know that is weird. I haven't heard that. But if they can't, I'm not sure if you're a broker. If you're a broker, there's something called broker metrics, but I think only brokers can subscribe to that. And it's pretty expensive compared to what Leon's offering today. It's great for recruiting, but it doesn't have the buyer-seller graphs that we love in Leon's program. So I would double check with Leon Dancona with the reality program and just be 100% sure that he can't help you out. The next question is from Julio. How do we know if they were first-time buyers is the question. I'm sorry, Julia, I really don't understand that question. Maybe you can clarify. Either raise your hand or type into the chat. I don't understand what you're asking there. Next question is from Douglas Johnson Sr. And Douglas is asking, what is a good Facebook ad for first-time buyers? Well, what I would do there, Douglas, is I would offer a free list of first-time buyer homes in your town, in your city, or in a high-demand area. So I might say, you know, New Market, a free list first-time buyer homes between this price range and that price range, free list with pictures. Okay, so it's really that simple. You could offer a free report on how to stop paying rent and own your own home. That is one of the campaigns that we offer. But as you've heard James McDonald say, usually we find that by offering a free list of properties, those ads outpull a similar ad that offers a free report. Keith Berger is asking, he says, in my target market, my target market is age restricted, retirement homes. What marketing programs are available within Craig Proctor Media? So if you want to sell someone a retirement home, I would think that they probably own a larger home right now. So Andrea, if you could please go to the ad generator, and if you could click on editorial ads, I want to show Keith and everybody else our empty nesters ad. So if you can click under sellers. So Andrea's going to editorial ads. She clicks on sellers, and you're going to see 1013, ID 1013 is empty nesters. Andrea's going to click on that ad, and imagine running this ad, Keith. Empty nesters, free special report reveals 9 costly mistakes to avoid when selling your, and then you fill in your area, okay, your blank home. Okay, so this is an excellent campaign to target empty nesters, people that own a larger home and they want to move to something smaller, which is, I think, exactly what you're trying to accomplish here. Okay, let's move on to our next question here. Well, Jordan was asking how to advertise the Sunday tour of homes, but unfortunately he's left the webinar. We did talk about this on Monday. We showed everybody how to go to the file library and just type in Sunday tour, and you're going to see the Sunday tour manual comes up, and it gives you many, many examples of how to promote the Sunday tour of homes. Okay, Nizla, I hope I'm pronouncing that properly, is asking, my broker is not going to be on board with me selling a home for free. How can I overcome this? Well, nobody is suggesting that you sell a home for free. Okay, you would not be selling a home for free as long as you follow your own rules. Okay, so the rules would be that the seller has to price their home at your price. Okay, you're going to recommend market value, and market value, by the way, is the price that homes sell for. So what would happen in your market if a seller priced their home at market value? If they priced their home at what the home was worth, well, the house would sell in less time than your guarantee requires. So you wouldn't be selling any houses for free. If this program scares you, you could use an alternate USP. How about your home sold in X amount of days, or I'll pay you $1,000 cash, where you're not saying free, it's a reduction of your commission. Okay, usually if your broker says no, it's just because they don't understand. They really don't understand what you're trying to accomplish. It's probably because one of your competitors or one of the other agents in your office has seen the ad and they're complaining. Okay, but we're not buying homes here, and we're not selling houses for free if we follow our own rules. And this is your program. You're the one that sets the rules. Okay, so I'm going to repeat this again. You set the rules. You set the price. Okay, if they list their home at your price, market value, will the house sell in X amount of days? You want to make the biggest promise that you can both make and keep. That's the idea. Of course, we don't want to be buying homes or selling homes for free or even deducting $1,000 off of our commission. But it's these ads that cause people to call us in the first place. Okay, that's what good marketing does. It gets people that want to buy and sell to contact you. That's what we're trying to accomplish here. That's what good marketing does. Okay. Next question here. Craig, are there templates for the statistical USPs? Andrea, I think you showed a few of those templates, did you not?
Yes, and it's not a template like you would have in the ad generator. It's just more, I would call it an example.
Okay, where can they get that example?
Would
that be on the ad clinic? Would they be able to look at those ads in some of the past ad clinics?
We have several. I won't be able to give you an exact date right off the top of my head, but we have several of these examples that we've looked at in August and September. So if they just go through, and if you're interested, I can send you this via email also, the example we looked at today. So just type in your email address and I'll be more than happy to email individual members this example.
Okay, so if you need any examples that you can't find on the site, just send Andrea an email. She'll either point you in the right direction or just email you back exactly what you need. Now, the next question, I'm not sure if it's Marcy or Mercy. The question is, can we have more examples of buyer USPs? Well, you can find many examples of buyer USPs by simply going to the USP ad generator. So Andrea is going to show you now where you can see many, many different examples of both buyer and seller USPs. Okay, you go to the ad generator just like that, click on USP, and there's the seller examples. And now Andrea is going to back out of that, and she's going to show you the buyer examples. Okay, and just in case you don't know, you click on the ad, and the ad comes up. There's the ad, and the ads are customizable. So I can make any guarantee I want. So just change that to say, yeah, $10,000. The penalty, $500 could change. Okay, so let's change the penalty to $1,000. Okay, it's really, really easy for you folks to have ads that look exactly like mine, but based on your criteria. You don't have to be enslaved by my criteria. If we go to the certificate now, you can also customize the certificates. Okay, and we show you the special reports, the landing pages, the hotline scripts, everything you need to run a successful USP campaign is here all in one spot. So I'd recommend, if you haven't had a chance, to spend some time looking at the USP ad generator, and that'll help you make your decision on which USP that you want to test or you want to offer in your marketplace. Okay, next question is from Nilsa. I recognize that my target market has a high number of listings in the $400,000 to $700,000 range. Those aren't necessarily first-time home buyers. How can I target that range specifically? Well, if the ad said first-time buyers and offered a specific list of properties in a lower price range, that's exactly who would respond to that ad. So the point you're making is not everyone in the $400,000 to $700,000 range is a first-time buyer. Well, you're probably right. Maybe some of these buyers are move-down buyers. They could be empty nesters. They could have sold a home for $2 million. You know, the kids have all left home, and now they want to buy a home in the $400,000 to $700,000 range. But if the ad said, I mean, I don't know why you'd want to discourage, you know, that type of buyer, but if you did want to discourage that type of buyer from responding, your ad simply could say first-time buyers. Free list of homes available between $400,000 and $700,000. Free list with pictures. Visit whatever, and then your recorded hotline number, unless you're on Facebook, which of course you're not going to have a hotline number. Next question is from Charlie Madison. Charlie's in Tennessee, and he says, we have strict guidelines that say if you make an offer, all conditions must be stated on the advertising medium. So how would you use that performance? How would you use the performance guarantees in that case? Well, Charlie, we have the exact same rules here in Ontario, Canada. So if we were to look at one of my ads promoting the guaranteed sale program, the disclaimer that I added on that, it said the seller and the agent, so in this case, the seller and Craig Proctor, must agree to the guarantee price and the possession date, because those really are the only two conditions. Because Charlie, I'm sure, just like me, you'd be willing to buy any property in any location at the right price. So those are really the only two conditions of the guaranteed sale program, is the seller and Craig Proctor must agree to the guaranteed sale price and the possession date. Because I truly would buy any property at the right price. It could be on a busy intersection. It could back onto railroad tracks. It could be next to the airport. At the right price, I would buy it. So those are the only conditions. The next question here is from Julio. Craig, you mentioned to look at statistics for sold properties on MLS and see how many were first-time buyers. The question is how will we know if it's a first-time buyer? Well, I think we just look at the price range and we assume that in the lower price range, most of the buyers are first-time buyers. It's a safe assumption. You could do a little survey, by the way. You could call up some of the realtors that have those properties listed, and you could be asking, in that neighborhood, you do a little survey and find out, who's buying these properties if they are first-time buyers. The benefit, again, of first-time buyers is, of course, they don't have a house to sell. They're very easy to satisfy, right? Every home you show them is better than that dingy apartment they're currently living in. And that's much different than, working with somebody that's already got a really nice house, and they're going to be really picky, right? It might take months and months and months to find them the perfect home. And even when you do, you still have to take care of getting their home sold. So it's the difference between getting paid in a matter of weeks versus getting paid months and months down the road, if ever. That's why I like first-time buyers. If you need to make now money, you need to make money right away. It's just the fastest way I know of to make money right away is to work with first-time buyers. And believe me, they're out there in the droves. There's lots of first-time buyers, and they're very easy to, it's very easy to attract them. John is asking, well, Craig, speaking about first-time buyers, would you target apartment complexes? Well, absolutely. If it's a rental building or any rental areas at all, it doesn't even have to be an apartment. It could be an area of town. We know there's a lot of rental units. Those are great places to target. And a great way to do that, as John has indicated, is through direct mail, through the Every Door Direct campaign, or in Canada, we have something similar with postal walks. Next question is from Mercy. May we have more examples of USPs that target buyers? I think we did that one already. Yeah, I'm jumping around here. Oh, no. More examples. Okay, well, Mercy's asked that question twice, but I think we addressed that. So Andrea showed you on the ad generator where you can find many examples of USP ads to target buyers. Let's just show everybody that one more time. Okay, the next question is from Christy. Since I haven't had any sales yet, is it desirable to have people I know from my former line of work complete testimonials or reviews about me rather than beginning with none at all? Well, I don't know how somebody could give you a testimonial about you helping them in the purchase or sale of a home if they didn't actually buy or sell a home. I mean, it's a testimonial maybe about your character, but not about your work as a real estate agent. I had a question a few minutes ago from somebody that has an ad on the back of their car. Let me see if I can find that one. Here it is. This is from Larry, and Larry says, when I got into the business last year, I was encouraged to have a graphic installed on the rear window of my car. This graphic has my name, contact info, and broker logo, but I've yet to get a car call from this graphic. Are window graphics and magnets a turn-off for the average consumer? Larry, I don't know if it's a turn-off. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you're not, I don't know how your driving is, but I don't think this is a turn-off, but it's just not going to generate any leads. You know, it's no different than you driving by a billboard and a real estate agent has a picture of themselves and their name, and it says, call me, and their phone number. It's not that it's a turn-off, but it doesn't compel a prospect to raise their hand and call you. So it's not that you're turning them off, but you're not turning them on. Okay, you're just not compelling anyone to contact you if the message simply has, you know, your name and a phone number. What is the offer that you're making? It's not that the medium can't work for you. It's not that this couldn't work for you, but it's the message. What offer are you making on that graphic in the back of your window? If there's no offer, if it's not compelling, then no one responds. So sometimes we get confused between, well, the medium doesn't work in the message. It's, you know, sometimes it's the message. A bad message isn't going to work on any medium.
One thing I'd like to say about this is I do know, Craig, when you were doing your Sunday tour of homes, I know one of the cars that your team drove did have a USP on the side, specifically so people would see that you're involved. It was a long line of cars. It looked like a parade almost, but that would be a good instance of where something like that would be helpful.
Well, yeah, it's not that the concept is a bad concept, but there's no offer. You know, if I run an ad anywhere with my name and my phone number and it says call me, and I'm not giving people a reason to call me, I'm not making an offer, then that's the bigger problem. You know, that's why it doesn't work. Could it work? Could that media? Well, yes, but we have to have the right offer. Okay, Charlie's asking about this disclaimer on the guaranteed sale program. Is the condition they have to buy one of your listings? Well, not necessarily, Charlie. That could be your rule. But let me ask you this. Isn't it true that you would buy any house in town at the right price even if they didn't move up to one of your listings? Isn't that the truth? What if my house is worth $400,000 and I wasn't moving up and buying one of your listings, and it was actually a pretty crappy house? But as crappy as my house was, it's a horrible location, it's a terrible home, it still is worth $400,000, and I said, I really need to get out of this. Would you give me $300,000? And I'm not moving up and buying a listing I'm not even buying another home. At the right price, you might buy that home. So that's really the only condition, is the seller and Charlie must agree on price. You can have all these other internal conditions, but those conditions, you know, are in your mind. But the truth is, for most of us, I would think, we would buy any home at the right price. Next question from Kenneth. My broker is a Mike Ferry supporter. Well, I'm sorry for that. And a believer, a Mike Ferry supporter and believer, and think that USPs are too risky for them. Well, that's good. We're glad they think that, because then they won't do it. Especially if you don't sell your home, I'll buy it concept. Well, you want to know what I think is really risky? Spending years of your life knocking on doors and making cold calls. That's really risky to me. Anyway, it goes on, it says, if I don't sell your home, I'll buy a concept. They understand they are qualifying guidelines for USPs, but they're still uncomfortable and afraid of the risks. Say if I don't perform or buy the property, if it does not sell, that they will have to buy a home in order not to be sued. Yeah, okay, look, you don't have to use the guaranteed sale program. If you don't want to use it, Kenneth, or your broker owners, they won't let you use it, mostly because they don't understand it, you don't have to start there. I don't want anyone to believing that the guaranteed sale program is an essential, mandatory part of the Craig Proctor program. We have thousands of members that don't use the guaranteed sale program that do very, very well with my system. However, you folks want to know the truth about the guaranteed sale program, and I'll tell you, we have also thousands of members that make millions and millions of dollars with the guaranteed sale program. It is a real program that helps real buyers and sellers, and if there wasn't a need for it, then the program wouldn't be as successful as it is. If you think about when you have a car and you want to buy a new car, you would drive your old car into the dealership and they would take your old car and trade. It's convenient. You could sell your existing car for more money, maybe on Auto Trader if you sold it yourself, but for convenience, you, the car owner, accept the fact that you're probably going to sell it for a little bit less for the convenience of moving up to the car that you really want and driving away with that new car. So this is a trade-up program or an insurance program that we offer prospects in our marketplace so they don't have to risk owning two homes. You see, I think that's very risky. I think it's very risky for move-up buyers today because it's one thing for the Mike Ferry students to say, well, look at Mr. and Mrs. move-up buyer. Don't worry, I'm sure your house will sell. You just go make a firm cash offer on my listing and don't worry about it. I'm sure your home will sell. And if that house doesn't sell, who is on the hook? The client is on the hook, and the real estate agent walks away and washes their hand. To me, that's irresponsible. To me, it appears that we're putting the client in a lot of risk. We come along and we say, look, we offer a program that no one else offers. If you move up and you buy any one of our listings, we will guarantee that you won't get stuck owning two homes. If we don't perform as promised and we don't sell your home for X amount within 120 days, if we don't sell it for that amount or more, I'll actually step in and buy your home so you don't get stuck owning two homes. Okay, it's an optional program. The prospect doesn't have to take the guarantee, nor do we really even want to offer it. We're totally okay if they don't opt in and take the guarantee. But if they do, then they can make a firm cash offer on the move-up home that they're interested in, and they won't be at risk of getting stuck owning two homes. We control the program. We control all the parameters. Every single parameter you control. It's your program, including the price you're going to buy the home for, the amount of time that you have to market and sell the home. So what happened hundreds and hundreds of times is I would guarantee properties and the home would sell for more than my guarantee within the time period. So did I give out hundreds of guarantees? Yes. But how many out of these hundreds and hundreds of guarantees that I have to take possession of and purchase? Well, as I said, only two. And the first two I bought were at the very beginning of my career when I really didn't understand what I was doing. Remember, you folks all have a benefit that I didn't have. I had to figure this out for myself. You folks are being spoon-fed on how to make this work and avoid the mistakes that I made earlier. Andrea, are there any audio questions at this point?
We have no hands raised.
Okay, well, let's take a couple more chats. We'll see if there's any audio questions that come up.
We have one now when you're ready.
Okay, go ahead.
Sonia Segura, your mic is now open on my end. Go ahead and unmute on your end. Hit the red mic button. There you go. Sonia?
Hi.
Hello.
I had a question. I was really interested in the testimonials, and I just now was thinking I haven't gotten any. Is there something as far as a template that you would send to past buyers and sellers that I've worked with to see if I could get testimonials from them, or is it too late once it's gone and passed?
Well, look, the best time to do it is when they love you the most, so better late than never. What would be wrong with just calling them? You know, you can position like you're just checking in on them, seeing how things are going, and wondering if they were happy with your service, if they'd be willing to provide you a testimonial.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would just pick up the phone, and you should be keeping in touch with your past clients anyway.
Right.
Now, here's what you want to do going forward. Going forward, you want to survey all of your customers. If the surveys come back and they were really positive, then you would know, well, that's a good person to call and get a testimonial from. If the testimonial came back and it doesn't look like doesn't look like they were very happy with you, then obviously you would know, well, that's not somebody I should ask for a testimonial from. All right, any more audio questions?
Yes, we do have John, and I'm probably going to pronounce the last name incorrectly, and I apologize in advance. John Nuccio, your mic is now open.
Nuccio.
Nuccio, thank you.
Craig, I'm working with renters trying to move forward with that first-time buyer program that you're speaking about, and I've come up with a couple of USPs. Just want to kind of bounce them off you, see what you think. First one is I'll get you qualified for a mortgage you can afford. Follow that up with I'll negotiate with your landlord to terminate your lease, and then basically I'm going to show you how to finance with little or $0 down.
Yeah, or what?
Or what?
Yeah, see, that's what's missing. Or what? Yeah, well, if there's no or what, then there's no consequence.
Okay.
Okay, so let me flip it around. You see what this sounds like. Hey, John, I'm going to do a really good job and sell your home at a really great price, and I'm going to sell it fast.
I see what you're saying.
There's no or what. That's what everyone says, right?
Okay. Makes
right?
sense. Thank you.
And so what's the average realtor? Their program is, hey, John, guess what? I guarantee to sell your home in 90 days. Or what? Well, or it'll expire, I guess.
Okay.
Right. So it's always better if it has the offer. The guarantee's got to have some teeth. There's got to be a consequence. So let's try this again with some consequences. So repeat these again, and let's work on this together.
Okay. I will get you qualified for a mortgage you can afford. Or what? Well, I'm not going to get you qualified.
Okay. Well,
so what can I give to a renter that's just now trying to move into the market?
Okay. There could be conditions, right? So repeat it again.
Okay. I will get you qualified for a mortgage you can afford. The second one was I will negotiate with your landlord to terminate your lease, which has been a big question. I'm in a lease. How do I get out of it? I'm saying I'll get you out of it. Basically, I will pay to get you out of your lease. Typically in our area, you've got a guarantee that until they get a replacement tenant.
So on that one, here's how we're going to work this one.
Okay.
So if I'm renting right now, you're guaranteeing to get me out of my lease, or you'll pay me $1,000 cash with the condition I have to buy another home through you.
Okay, sure.
That would work. So even if you couldn't get me out of my lease, and I go buy a home through you, and you make a $15,000 commission check, and you've got to deduct $1,000 to pay me because you didn't perform, you would still be up $14,000.
Right, I like that. They still have to buy from me, so that's a great hook.
Right, so let's go back to the first one. Could you get people pre-qualified for financing? Okay, if the conditions were that they had to have good credit, good job stability, and a combined family income over X amount. If they meet those three conditions, you could get them, the best financing in town.
Right.
right? Or I will pay you $1,000 cash on the condition that you buy a home through me.
Okay.
So I'm making these up as we go along, but there's got to be a consequence if you don't perform. And there's going to be conditions. Like, we have to understand, there are conditions with every offer in the world. If you look at the back of an offer on the back of a cereal box, it's got conditions. You must be 18 years of older. You must be a resident of this state. You can't be, you or anyone in your family can't be an employee of Kellogg's. Right? There's conditions on every offer.
Sure.
And I also want to talk about this as well. Sometimes we hear this negative stuff from our brokers that don't understand the program, or they say, well, that's very risky. They just don't understand it, right? Or they say, well, that's a bait and switch. Let me remind everybody, every time we run a property ad, couldn't we say that that's a bait and switch? So John, you advertise your listings, right?
I do.
Okay. If I was to call you on one of your listings and you're telling me about the property, and I say, oh, John, that's too big for me, or that's too small, or that's too much money, would you say to me, oh, Craig, we'll go away? You wouldn't do that, right?
No, I wouldn't.
You would probably say, well, what are you looking for, right?
Correct.
And I would tell you, and then you would probably tell me about properties that you knew of that were likely not even listed with you, but properties that that match what I'm looking for, in hopes of getting me as a buyer. Would you do that?
Yes.
Okay, so I could accuse you of bait and switch there.
Yeah, I guess you could, but it wouldn't make any sense to accuse me of that because I'm doing my work for you, but I see where you're going.
Well, every real estate agent in the world knows that nobody buys the property that they're advertising, and we switch them on to something else.
Absolutely.
So I guess everyone's guilty of bait and switch.
The way you put it that way, that sure sounds like it, doesn't it?
Well, I guess that's the way I see it. So all I'm saying is these offers do a much better job of getting the phone to ring than any single property ever would. So
I agree. I like your
these real estate agents that frown upon this and say, well, these offers are just bait and switch. Well, I would remind them, but that's what they do. But our bait and switch apparently is better than their bait and switch.
Craig, thank you for answering my questions. I appreciate the input on the or what. That was the part of the scenario that I definitely left out. I appreciate the input.
All right, thanks, John. Look, we're going to wrap it up for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. If you have any questions, you can reach out to your coach. Of course, you can call my office anytime, toll free, 1-800-538-1034. And remember, tomorrow we've got our role play at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. on the East Coast. And we're going to role play using universal callback script and help you handle any objections you may be getting. So we hope everyone will join us tomorrow. Again, I hope you've enjoyed our webinar today, and we'll talk to everybody then. Take care.